We have the call in the New York City mayor's race at 5 past the hour after the polls had closed. And Zohran Mamdani, the 34-year-old Democratic socialist, is the winner, as expected, and will be the next mayor here in New York City. Numbers coming in early. The check mark is next to Mamdani, and he ran a campaign after, winning in a crowded Democratic primary field that was impressive to many, driven by the youth vote here in New York City. On the left side of the Democratic Party, without a doubt, as you look at his campaign headquarters. And now Mamdani, just turning 34 years of age, will be the next mayor in the largest city in the country. Those are some early figures coming in, bottom of the screen, 51.7%, with Andrew Cuomo at just under 40% and Curtis Sliwa at 8%. Again, early numbers, but the projection, given the data that we had, was more than enough to make this decision, and make this decision early in the night.
And these numbers are interesting because if they hold true on, is this breakdown, we just are projecting him to win the race. We're
That's
not.
right.
These are
This
just
is
based on nothing.
But
okay.
but no, New York gives a big dump right after you get all the early
you already
votes.
have, already have almost $750,000.
That's probably most of the early vote.
Yeah,
right.
And so look, this will be a record turnout year. These are a big basket of votes. If this percentage structure stays the same, it answers the question of the mandate.
Right. That's what I
if
was going
Mamdani,
after.
which means that he did even better.
Well,
in
we don't
this
know that
election
yet,
than he did.
because
But I'm saying if it holds, it becomes a very interesting plus-minus for him, because there's the promise versus the promises kept, which can be tricky, especially because a mayor's not as powerful as a president or a governor. But I do think you have to talk about why. And even I can see what this is about. And of course, I wanted my brother to win. I believe in my brother. I think he's a tremendous operator within government. But he's not what Democrats want right now in their party. And Democrats win in New York City, Chris. I mean, that's the one-line analysis, is the Democrat was going to win in New York City. But the type of Democrat and what they want, I do believe there's a metaphor here as a reaction to MAGA, and this is what we'll see in the midterms. But I guess that's fought by Virginia and New Jersey in terms of who they elected. The president will quickly tell you that he is no fan of my brother, or of mine, by the way, and that's okay. But I believe he and his people are looking at this race because they see what can beat them in the midterms. And the lineup...
So you think he's watching because he sees the same energy?
It is MAGA on the other side with more people and more intensity than we saw with MAGA.
But let me ask, what succeeded for Republicans? So if we go back to the Tea Party in 2010, and so if the idea here is a parallel construction between, whether it's no kings or whatever, the moment for the Democratic Party now and the way the Tea Party was going into the 2010 election. What worked for Republicans in 2010 and 2014 was what? Not weird, not crazy, right? Remember Christina O'Donnell, I'm not a witch.
Yeah.
What didn't work for Republicans again and again and again during the populist counter-reaction movement and all of that stuff, what worked for them was being boring and normal, right? That's what actually, the party that can most convincingly depict normality is the party that can win with these persuadable votes.
I'm with you, but everyone's sitting at this table. And you can say, well, that's bubble. Yeah, but the power's in the bubble also. So that's not what Democrats believe. Democrats believe they have to be like what beat them. That's why Gavin Newsom, who, say what you want about him, this is a measured guy, this is a smart guy, this is a think, then speak, and if it goes the wrong way, find a way out of it, polished politician. He is acting the buffoon with these tweets with Trump and his little stunts. And he has never been more popular. And they want a gross muscularity of response. That's why the Prop 50, say what they say, do what they say. I don't care what Jay Jones said in his text. You should be angry. These are Nazis. These are fascists. That is captured in this movement. And there's something else that's very controversial. The idea that Mamdani's going to get jumped by the New York media after this, no. Because his brand of being a little too welcoming, of very divisive talk about Jews and Islamism, not being a Muslim, an Islamist, an extreme Islamist, very different, is very powerful on the left part of the Democratic
It's
Party.
very powerful,
Very.
the left party, the Democratic Party, in places like New York City.
Right, and I think the media will leave them alone because of that. They'll be afraid of them coming after them.
Oh, of their own
Yeah.
insular group inside
Yeah.
New York City.
Oh, you're bought by AIPAC. Oh, you're bought by the Jews. They're sensitive to that right now. I think it's, picking on Jews as a minority in a way I've never seen in my life. But that's not what's popular to say in that party.
All right.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.